Okay, welcome to lesson 4 now. This is called negative powers. So I'm going to present, and hopefully my face is still on the screen. I'm going to move my, it's not going to let me. Okay, there we go. All right, so this lesson is on negative powers. And negative powers and fractions are related to each other. So this is the rule. If you have a base, any base, with a power that has a negative sign in front of it, it doesn't mean that the number is negative. Okay, this is actually a positive number, believe it or not. A to the power of negative n is positive. Okay, the answer to that, or the simplified version of that, is a positive number. The exponent is the thing, or the power. Remember, we use these words exponents and powers kind of interchangeably, is negative. Okay, so the exponent is negative, but the number, the whole answer is not negative. So a to the power of negative n actually means 1 over a to the power of n. Very simply, you get rid of this negative sign and you make it into a fraction. Another word we use for this is called a reciprocal. Okay, reciprocal kind of means opposite. So in math terms, it means to put into a fraction like this. So, for example, 3 to the power of negative 2 is 1 over 3 to the power of 2. You could do 3 to the power of 2 is 9. So 3 to the power of negative 2 is equal to 1 over 9. Those are the same thing. This is just a rule we need to remember when it comes to negative powers. If you had a fraction and a negative power, what would happen is your fraction would flip. Okay, it would become the reciprocal. So the 2 would go on the bottom and the 5 would come to the top. And then your power would become positive. Okay, so when we have fractions, it really confuses things a little bit with the negative power. But if you remember this example and this rule, then it's not so bad. Okay, on the next slide, I'm going to try and draw. I'm going to have to move my face around a bit. Excuse me. And I'm going to try and draw on the slide here the answers. So 4 to the power of negative 1. Remember, we turn into a fraction. So 1 over. And we write the same thing, 4. But instead of writing a negative power, we write a positive power. So it's going to be 1 over 4 to the power of 1. In part B, 6 to the power of negative 2. Okay, so we switch it to a fraction, 1 over 6 to the power of positive 2 now. Okay, and if you wanted to work that out, 6 to the power of 2 is 36, so you could say 1 over 36. And you have to excuse my writing because I'm using the trackpad. It is not easy. 3 to the power of negative 2, we just did that one. 1 over 3 to the power of 2. Okay, 5 to the power of negative 2 is 1 over 25, or you could just write 5 to the power of 2. It's okay. So we flip it into a fraction and we get rid of the negative. In this situation, we have a fraction. So we switch the fraction. So it's going to be 3 over 2. And instead of having a negative power now, it's going to be to the power of positive 1. Okay. In this example, same. We flip the fraction. So it becomes 5 over 4. I'm surprised how not bad this writing is, actually, considering it's difficult on the trackpad. And instead of a negative power, we put positive 2 up here. Okay, this one is a decimal. We could write 1 over 0.5, but we typically don't like to have fractions and decimals mixed together. Okay, and then to the power of positive 1. Sorry about that bracket. Okay, but I would prefer if you wrote 1 over 2, because 0.5 is the same as 1 over 2. And if it's to the power of negative 1 in the original question, then when we change it into have a positive power, if we deal with this negative power to simplify it, then we actually end up with 2 over 1 to the power of positive 1. So 2 over 1 is just 2, and 2 to the power of 1 is also 2. So the final answer for this, 0.5 to the power of negative 1, is just going to give me 2. Okay. 0.4 as a decimal is 2 over 5. You should know that from the last unit we did. So 2 over 5, oops, that's meant to be a bracket, like this, to the power of negative 2. Okay, simplifies to 5 over 2. And with these brackets, the brackets are quite important here because we have a power of 2. Okay, so 5 over 2 to the power of 2. Now, when we try to deal with this situation, this power of 2 applies to the 5, and it also applies to the 2. Okay, so we have 5 squared and 2 squared. So it would be 25 over 4 if you wanted to keep evaluating it. You could also just leave your answer like this, dealing with the negative exponent. Okay, I'm going to leave the last 2 out for now. Okay, so don't worry about those 2. I couldn't delete them off the picture, so we'll just cross them out. But I want you to be comfortable with those 8 examples, all right? Because the Khan Academy questions are related, and these are interesting situations. You've got some decimals and negative powers, you've got fractions with negative powers, and then just regular numbers. Okay, thank you.